Protesters gather at the main entrance of the West County Detention Facility in Richmond, Calif, on Sunday, June 17, 2018. About 100 people showed up at the facility during Father's Day to protest the separation of children from their families by the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Jose Carlos Fajardo, Bay Area News Group. President Trump moved to end his administration's policy separating children from immigrant parents who cross into the U.S. illegally, but California elected officials and activists blasted the new practice of detaining immigrant families together indefinitely. Under an executive order Trump signed Wednesday, immigrant families that cross the border illegally will be kept in detention centers together, potentially for months as their asylum cases proceed. California leaders argued that the president's order traded one dehumanizing system for another, while doing nothing to reunite the thousands of kids who've been separated with their parents. "This executive order doesn't fix the crisis," tweeted Senator Kamala Harris. "Indefinitely detaining children with their families in camps is inhumane and will not make us safe." Rep. Ro Khanna D. Santa Clara called the move a very small nod towards decency, but argued that locking kids up with their parents is not a solution. It's also unclear whether Trump's order will stand up to legal muster. The White House is hoping to get around a 1997 settlement that prohibits the federal government from keeping children in immigration detention for more than 20 days. Administration lawyers will petition a Los Angeles area federal court to modify that settlement and allow kids to be detained for longer with their parents. The president's policy change came after days of uproar over audio and photos of kids as young as a few months taken away from their parents. "Putting children in the same cages as their parents isn't a solution," said Jose Servan, an activist with the California Immigrant Youth Justice Alliance. "This is a ploy by the White House to distract people from the real issue of whether we're detaining children at all." Under the administration's zero-tolerance policy introduced earlier this year, immigrant families who cross the border illegally are separated, with parents facing federal prosecution on illegal entry charges and children placed into the care of the Department of Health and Human Services. In past administrations, most immigrant families were released while their immigration cases proceeded, and were not charged criminally for illegal entry if they didn't have prior criminal records. Trump and his allies argue that some immigrants released did not show up for court cases. "We're going to keep families together, but we still have to maintain toughness or our country will be overrun by people, by crime, by all of the things that we don't stand for," Trump told reporters at the White House on Wednesday. Start your day with the news you need from the Bay Area and beyond. Sign up for our Morning Report weekday newsletter. Activists are especially concerned that there isn't a formal system for reuniting immigrant parents with their children after their court proceedings are over. More than 2,300 minors were taken from their parents between early May and early June, according to statistics from the Department of Homeland Security. "Family detention is not the answer at all," said Manoj Govindias, director of Family Detention Services at RISES, the Texas nonprofit legal defense fund, which was the recipient of more than $13.7 million in donations by Wednesday afternoon from a Facebook fundraiser campaign launched last weekend by a Silicon Valley couple outraged at the Trump policy separating families. "Children should never be incarcerated. While this executive order might address the families, it's not a workable or viable solution to the administration's treatment of children." The donation windfall will expand the charity's ability to represent children and parents going through the immigration court system and partner with like-minded organizations to provide training for volunteer lawyers and other services, he said. Reuniting those kids with mom and dad should be the administration's top priority, Senator Dianne Feinstein said in a statement. President Trump has finally recognized his folly, but this humanitarian crisis should have never happened in the first place, she said. 80 Quality Auto 360p 720p 1080p. You might also like Singapore Water Company's tap runs dry amid debt crisis. Nikkei Asian Review. Indonesia sneaks up on Singapore with flurry of port. Nikkei Asian Review. What savvy moms should know about formula. Abbott family new breakthrough in pediatric nutrition. Similac, Abbott family air conditioning. Now finally affordable thanks to newthingstoday.com. Find out your birth color based on your birth date. Ace Pro Academy and Coulter, migrant kids at border are child actors. MercuryNews.com video, missing Walnut Creek man turns up at White. MercuryNews.com. Ask Amy, it's not okay for them to take baths together. MercuryNews.com recommended by